Even when you're sitting alone in complete silence, your mind is anything but quiet. You wake up in the morning, and before your feet even touch the floor, your brain has already started talking. It reminds you of yesterday's mistakes, worries about tomorrow's problems, imagines conversations that haven't happened, and replays memories you wish you could forget. Then, just before you fall asleep, when the world finally becomes quiet, your thoughts somehow become louder. It's as if there's a narrator living inside your head who never gets tired, never takes a break, and never stops speaking. But have you ever asked yourself a simple question? Why does your brain keep thinking all the time? Why can't you simply switch it off? Why does your mind keep creating problems even when your life is perfectly calm? And perhaps the biggest mystery of all, if thinking is supposed to help us, why does it so often make us anxious, exhausted, and unhappy? The answer begins with a surprising truth. Your brain was never designed to give you peace. It was designed to help you survive. Imagine one of your ancestors sitting near a fire after sunset. The forest is dark. Every strange sound could be a predator. Every unfamiliar footprint could belong to an enemy tribe. The person whose brain constantly asked, "What if something goes wrong?" had a better chance of surviving than the person who simply relaxed. Evolution rewarded minds that kept scanning for danger, predicting problems, and preparing for the unexpected. Generation after generation, that survival system became stronger until it became the brain you carry today. But the world changed much faster than your brain did. You no longer spend your nights worrying about lions hiding behind trees. Instead, your brain worries about unpaid bills, job interviews, relationships, embarrassing memories, social media notifications, and conversations that haven't even happened yet. The dangers changed, but the software didn't. Your brain still believes that thinking equals protection. Every thought is an attempt to prepare you. Every worry is an attempt to prevent pain. Every replay of an embarrassing moment is your brain trying to make sure you never repeat the same mistake. The strange part is that your brain rarely knows when to stop. One useful thought becomes 10. Before you realize it, you're trapped inside an endless conversation with yourself. Modern neuroscience has discovered that even when you're doing absolutely nothing, your brain remains incredibly active. One of its busiest systems, known as the default mode network becomes most active when you're resting. Instead of becoming silent, your brain begins thinking about your past, imagining your future, judging yourself, replaying old memories, and creating stories about your life. It's almost as if your mind refuses to stay empty because, throughout evolution, an idle brain was seen as a vulnerable brain. Imagine your brain as the director of a movie. Suddenly, the movie becomes about you, your fears, your dreams, your regrets, your future, your identity. This incredible ability gave humans the power to invent tools, build civilizations, write books, compose music, and imagine futures that didn't yet exist. But every gift has a price. The same imagination that allows you to dream also allows you to worry. The same brain that can picture success can also picture failure. It doesn't only replay happy memories, it replays painful ones with astonishing clarity. It doesn't only imagine opportunities, it predicts disasters that may never happen. This is why two people can experience the exact same event yet walk away with completely different thoughts. One sees possibility. The other sees each brain chooses to tell. And here's the most fascinating part. Your brain doesn't care whether those stories are true. It only cares whether they might help you survive. That's why a single awkward moment from 5 years ago can suddenly appear while you're taking a shower. That's why one unanswered message can create an entire fictional story in your mind. That's why lying in bed at 2 o'clock in the morning often feels like the perfect time for your brain to solve problems that don't even exist. Your mind isn't trying to torture you. It's trying to protect you. The tragedy is that the same survival system that once protected our ancestors from real danger now traps millions of people inside imaginary danger. Every day, countless people fight invisible battles against thoughts that have never happened and futures that may never arrive. They become prisoners of stories written by a brain that mistakes uncertainty for danger. And this leads to an extraordinary question. If your brain never stops thinking because it believes it's helping you, why do those thoughts so often become the very thing that steals your happiness? The answer lies deep inside one of the most remarkable systems ever created by evolution, and once you understand how it works, you'll never listen to your thoughts in quite the same way again. If thinking is meant to help us survive, then why does it so often make us suffer? Why do some thoughts refuse to leave no matter how hard we try to ignore them? The answer lies in one of the brain's most misunderstood habits. Your brain doesn't just think, it repeats. Imagine hearing the same song over and over again until it gets stuck in your head. Thoughts work the same way. The more emotional a thought is, the more likely your brain is to replay it. This process is called rumination and it's one of the biggest reasons people become trapped in overthinking. Your brain believes that repeating a problem will eventually solve it, but many problems cannot be solved through endless thinking. Instead, the brain simply circles around them like a car driving endlessly around a roundabout without ever taking an exit. Imagine remembering an embarrassing moment from years ago. Logically, you know everyone else has probably forgotten it. Yet your brain plays the memory again as if it happened yesterday, because emotional memories are stored differently from ordinary ones. Whenever an experience involves fear, shame, regret, or rejection, the amygdala marks it as important. It tells the brain, "Don't forget this. It might save your life one day." Thousands of years ago, remembering dangerous situations helped our ancestors survive. Today, the same system replays awkward conversations, painful breakups, embarrassing mistakes, and harsh criticism long after they have lost any real importance. The brain isn't trying to hurt you. It simply doesn't know that those memories are no longer dangerous. Another reason your mind never stops thinking is uncertainty. Human beings dislike uncertainty more than almost anything else. When your brain doesn't have enough information, it starts creating possibilities. Unfortunately, it usually creates negative ones first. Imagine sending someone an important message. They don't reply for several hours. Within minutes, your brain begins writing an entire story. Maybe they're angry. Maybe you offended them. Maybe they don't want you in their life anymore. Hours later, you discover they were simply busy, sleeping, or had no internet connection. Nothing bad actually happened. Yet your brain behaved as though your relationship was falling apart. This happens because your survival system would rather prepare you for a threat that never comes than ignore one that does. In evolutionary terms, false alarms were cheaper than missed dangers. But in modern life, these false alarms create unnecessary anxiety. Social media has made this even worse. Every notification, every message, every post activates the brain's reward system. When that reward disappears, the brain immediately starts asking questions. Why hasn't anyone replied? Why didn't my post get enough likes? Why does everyone else seem happier than me? Without realizing it, your mind begins comparing your ordinary moments with everyone else's carefully edited highlights. The result is an endless cycle of thinking, comparing, and doubting yourself. Your brain wasn't designed for this world of constant information. It evolved to handle a small tribe, not millions of opinions appearing on a screen every day. Then there is another hidden reason your mind keeps talking. It wants certainty about the future. The brain constantly asks, what happens next? Because if it can predict tomorrow, it believes it can keep you safe. But the future is uncertain by nature. No amount of thinking can guarantee what will happen. Yet your brain keeps trying anyway. It imagines every possible outcome, searching for the one that feels safest. Ironically, this often creates more fear than clarity. The more possibilities your brain creates, the more overwhelmed you become. This is why people who overthink often feel mentally exhausted even after doing nothing physical. Their body may be resting, but their brain has been running a marathon all day. This is why so many people spend years preparing for disasters that never arrive while missing the beautiful moments happening right in front of them. They become so busy living inside their minds that they stop living in the world itself. But here's the extraordinary part. The brain that creates endless thoughts is also capable of learning silence. not by forcing thoughts to disappear, but by changing the relationship you have with them. Because the greatest mistake most people make isn't that they think too much, it's that they believe every thought they think. That realization changes everything, and it's exactly what we'll uncover in the final chapter. And once you discover why that belief is an illusion, you'll realize that freedom doesn't come from stopping your thoughts.